Mr. Lalit was unable to agree the trial balance last year and wrote off the difference to the profit and loss account of that year. On verifying the old books by a chartered accountant next year, the following mistakes were found. Again, we've been given information. Now, because the final accounts have already been made, you will have to make adjustment entries for any account in the trading or P&L. That is one way to think of it, trading or profit and loss account, or all expenses, losses, incomes, gains will all have to go in what is called the P&L adjustment account. Okay, so do we uh, pass journal entries involving other accounts? Yes, we do. The suspense account, for example, but also uh, named accounts. Okay, assets and liabilities will be by their respective account name. Okay, so this is not the same as a regular rectification of errors where we identify accounts, we think of the correct entry, wrong entry, rectified entry, right? Wherever we think of the rectified entry, we have to replace all trading and P&L accounts, all expenses, losses, incomes, and gains with what is called the P&L adjustment account. All right. Now, having said that, we can begin. Purchase account was undercast by 16,000. Now, remember the purchase account is in the P&L account, and therefore we cannot use the word purchase account. It will have to be the P&L adjustment account. The purchase account was undercast by 16,000. Now remember, the purchase account by default has a debit balance. If it is undercast, means it is less by 16,000, we need to increase it. If an account, okay, and again, this is basics that we learn when it comes to rectification of errors. If an account has a debit balance to increase, we debit, to decrease, we credit. All right, now going back up. By default, the purchase account has a debit balance. It is undercast, means the problem it is less. We need to increase it. All right, so if something has a debit balance, to increase, we debit it further. All right, so I'm going back up. I cannot debit the purchase account because the accounts for the year already closed. All right, in the place of date, we can stick to serial numbers. We don't even know which financial year this is. All right, but I can now go here and say, okay, P&L adjustment account. Why P&L adjustment account instead of the purchase account? If the purchase account was undercast and the final accounts were not made, the rectification entry would have been purchase account debit to suspense account. But because the final accounts are made, we're already in the new financial year, it will be profit and loss, profit and loss adjustment account, adjustment account, debit to suspense, to suspense account. All right, and the amount will be the same 16,000 that you see over there. Okay, will be the same 16,000. as far as the narration is concerned, and yes, unless stated otherwise, narrations are important. All right, so what is it? Being purchase account, purchase account, undercast. Okay, being purchase account undercast in the previous year, whatever the issues, being whatever mistake, and then you will say now rectified. Okay, and with that, we are done with the first rectification entry. Obviously, we will draw a line with a scale. Okay, now we go to the next transaction, and they're telling us that the sale of goods to Rashmi, Miss Rashmi, for 5,000 was omitted to be recorded. All right, now in the case of an error of omission, you simply pass the journal entry. So the journal entry would normally have been Miss Rashmi account debit to sales account. But sales account itself is again something that is going to be part of the trading account, and therefore I have to replace sales account with the P&L adjustment account. Okay, so if the normal standard journal entry, which we have omitted, not written before, is Rashmi account debit to sales, it will be now replaced with Rashmi's account debit. All right, Rashmi's account debit, and instead of sales, you will write to profit and loss adjustment account. Okay, and the amount is 5,000. All right, so I will go ahead and write 5,000 and 5,000. Okay, and what else do I need to do? I need to pass a narration. Okay, and this time it will be being sale made Rashmi in the previous financial year, or simply previous year also is good enough. In the previous year, okay, so being dash mistake, what is the mistake? Omitted, right? Omitted means you did not pass the entry only. You skipped it, you forgot. Either way, it's been omitted. Omitted, now, now rectified. Simple. All right, amount is also done. Narration is also done, and I am drawing a horizontal line. Okay, with that, we are now in a position to go to the third entry. Receipt of cash from Mr. Ashok was posted in the account of Mr. Anubhav. Now, since all the accounts over here are asset accounts, okay, we can go with names entirely this time around. And to understand what is to be done here, right, we are going to think of the correct entry, wrong entry, and rectified entry. If you have received cash from Mr. Ashok, the correct entry, okay, the correct entry should have been, okay, and I'm going to do it here because I have space here. If I've received cash from Mr. Ashok, the correct entry should have been cash debit to Ashok. But instead, what you have done is cash debit to Anubhav, to Anubhav. Now, in both cases, the cash account is correctly debited. The problem is you were supposed to credit Ashok, yet you credited Anubhav. We fix mistakes, errors, we rectify errors by doing what we were supposed to do and undoing what we were not supposed to do. If you have credited Anubhav's account, you were not supposed to do that. You will debit his account. You were supposed to credit Ashok's account. You haven't done that. You will credit his account. All right. So the rectified entry is going to be Anubhav's account debit to Ashok's account. All right. Now I'm going to quickly get rid of this and then come here. The amount is 1,200. All right. So going here down, we will write our serial number and undo the mistake we made and do what we were supposed to do. All right. And in both cases, it is going to be 1,200 and 1,200 being cash received from Ashok, wrongly credited to Nubav's account. Okay, and this would have been fine if it was in last year, but we have to say in the previous, okay, look at how large it can end up becoming. Previous year, now rectified. Rectified. Now we go back to our set of transactions. Okay, the fourth one. 4167 of sales wrongly posted as 4617. Now remember, sales is in the trading account, and therefore instead of sales, again, it is going to have to be P&L adjustment. Okay, P&L adjustment account. And sales was supposed to be credited by 4167. Instead, you credited it extra 4617. The difference we will calculate, right? The difference is going to be 4617 minus 4167, which gives me 450 rupees. All right, I should have been able to reduce the sales account last year. Now I cannot touch the sales account. I will have no choice but to make that adjustment in the P&L adjustment account. If I had to reduce sales by default has a credit balance. If I want to reduce it, I have to debit. So now it is going to have to be P&L adjustment account debit, and we will credit suspense account because there's no second account we can consider. All right, so first off, I am drawing a line. Okay, I am writing 4, and then we have profit and loss, profit and loss, adjustment account debit to suspense account for 450. And in the narration, we have to explain what happened. So being excess amount, again, let's see the wordings in the transaction. Posted. Is it posted? Posted 4617. So wrongly posted. Okay. Being excess amount wrongly posted to sales account in the previous year now rectified. Okay, if you don't want to write being excess amount wrongly posted, you write being 4617 wrongly posted instead of 4167 in the previous year, now rectified. Even that will do. That would be better because you're mentioning the numbers. Either way, we are done. We are done with this rectification entry. Next, 5. Repairs to machinery was debited to the machinery account. Now, the machinery account is an asset account, but you were supposed to put it in the machinery repairs account. And the machinery repairs account is an expense account. And that means that too is going to be P&L adjustment. Okay, that is also going to go to the P&L adjustment. So you wrongly debited the machinery account. We undo the mistake by crediting the machinery account. Who were you supposed to debit? You were supposed to debit machinery repairs account. But now we are past that financial year, so you are going to have no choice but to debit the P&L adjustment account. Okay, so going down here, we have number 5, profit and loss adjustment account debit, profit and loss adjustment account debit to machinery account. You wrongly debited the machinery account. We are crediting the machinery account. How come we can do that to the machinery account? Because the machinery account is an asset account. Asset and liability accounts, you can directly use the names, even if the financial year has ended. Now, how much was that repair? Okay, 6,100. 6,100. So we will also write that down. Yeah. Okay, 6,000, 6,100, 6,100 being repairs to machinery, repairs to machinery wrongly debited to machinery account. Machinery account. I think AC would have been enough. Okay, machinery account in the previous year, always in the previous year. Now rectified. Okay, now you may be wondering, why is it wrong to debit the machinery account? Machinery account is an asset account. It only gets debited in the case of capital expenditure. If you bought more machinery, you debit the machinery account. But if you incur regular expenses in the machinery for upkeep, maintenance, repairs, it is a revenue expenditure and it must be shown as a repair account transferred to the P&L account at the end of the year. All right. With that, we are done with this. Next, we have our last transaction, and let's see, is the last transaction that we have here, and then we'll see what else we can do. Last entry was supposed to be a credit purchase of goods from Mr. David for 3,000, but instead it has been entered as a sale. You were supposed to do purchase, okay, purchase account debit to David. Instead, what has happened is David account debit to sales. All right, now you have to undo this and do this. Both of these are trading account items. Therefore, again, we have to make use of the P&L adjustment account. Okay, and that means we will have to debit the P&L adjustment account twice. Once for the correct purchase and once for the wrong sale. Doing the purchase, undoing the sale. Okay, and that means the P&L adjustment account is going to be debited by 6,000. Now, as far as Mr. David is concerned, the correct entry was to credit him by 3,000. Instead, you have debited him by 3,000. So to undo this, you need to credit him by 3,000, but you were supposed to credit him in the first place. So you have to credit him twice. So again, 6,000. Right now, I'm going down and we are here. Number 6, profit and loss adjustment account debit, profit and loss adjustment account debit to Mr. David. Or if you want, simply David's account. Okay, David's account. And for double the original purchase because we are undoing being purchase from Mr. David wrongly entered as a sale in the previous year now rectified. Next, we have at least 2 more transactions, but I'm going to go back up to the list of transactions. We are done with the last one over here. Okay, but we by passing rectification entries have made debit and credit entries to we made debit and credit entries to the P&L adjustment account and the suspense account. We need to close both of these accounts and make those adjustments in the proprietor's capital account. Okay, so you have one option of making the ledger. In that way, you can show your working note, and the balancing figure of the ledger will go to the capital account. Alternatively, if you have a calculator, you can just do plus minus on the calculator to get your numbers. All right, so I am putting my calculator here, and I'm only bothered right now. Right now, what I am concerned with is simply the P&L adjustment account. So how much is the P&L adjustment account in the first transaction? 16,000 debit. So going forward, all debits of P&L adjustment account I will add and all credits I will subtract. So plus the next line I have next transaction, I have P&L adjustment account credit. So I will subtract 5,000. Next, we have no P&L adjustment account in transaction 3, a debit in transaction 4. So now plus 450. The next one has a debit of 6,100. So plus 6,100. And the last one as for 6,000. So plus 6,000. And I get 23,550. Remember, I started with a debit and I started doing plus minus. So the fact that this is a positive number means it has a debit balance. And the P&L adjustment account has a debit balance. If I want to close that P&L adjustment account, it has to become zero. That means I have to credit P&L adjustment account by 23,550 and therefore debit Lalit's capital account by the same number. Okay, so my transaction here is going to be transaction over here, journal entry is going to be the capital account. Okay, 23,550 is P&L adjustment debit. I have to credit P&L adjustment account. So Lalit's capital account debit to profit and loss adjustment adjustment account, both places 23,550, 23,550, 23,550 being balance in the P&L adjustment account, profit and loss adjustment account, transferred transferred to Lalit's capital account. Capital account. Okay, and with that, we are done with this second last transaction. And now we will move on to the last transaction. Okay, and I'm going down. This line is, yeah, I'm guessing it's just about straight. Okay, we have 8. I have closed the P&L adjustment account and now I have to close the suspense account. Okay, and again, if the question specifically asks you to make the ledger accounts, make it. For a working note, you could make it. If you want to be quick about it, you can use the calculator and do directly. Okay, now I'm going to look only at the suspense account. Suspense account, I'm crediting by 16,000 here. So now remember, going forward, all credits will be added, all debits will be subtracted. Okay, so next we have no suspense account. Next we have no suspense account. Next we have a credit of 450. So I will add 450. Next we have no suspense account. Next we have no suspense account. Again, no suspense account. The suspense account balance is 16,450 credit. Now, if the suspense account has a credit balance of 16,450, if I want to make it zero, I must debit the suspense account. Who will I credit? Lalit's capital account. Okay, so suspense account debit to Lalit's capital account, and we are talking about 16,450. 16,450, 16,450 being balance of the suspense account, suspense transferred. Okay, transferred to Lalit's capital account. And with that, we are done with this sum. Okay. If you have any doubts, feel free to message. And otherwise, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.